Hello everyone, Saidu here. Welcome to another CCNA Cyber Ops Lab. In this video, I'll be showing you how to encrypt and decrypt a message using OpenSSL. In the previous video, I talked about what is encryption and decryption. Now, because I'm using the OpenSSL to carry out the encryption and decryption, let me talk a little bit about the OpenSSL. OpenSSL is an open source project that provides a robust, commercial grade, and full feature toolkit for the transport layer security, which is also known as the TLS, and secure socket layer protocols, which is also known as SSL. Now, I am on my CyberOps workstation virtual machine, which is obviously the machine that I will carry out this lab on. I'll be using the AES to encrypt a text file directly from the command line using OpenSSL. Now, there are other encryption algorithms that can be used instead of the AES, but in this video, I'll be using the AES. So right now, I am on my terminal window. The file that I want to encrypt is located in the home analyst slash lab support files. So I need to change the directory to that specific folder, which is lab.support.files. Now, after doing that successfully, I will open up a later underscore two underscore grandma.txt. So this is a deleter, which is supposed to be a plain text, which you will see in a bit. Let me use the cat to open it. Cat later to grandma.txt. So as you can see here, this is the plain text message that I would like to encrypt so that unauthorized user will not be able to see or read what this message is all about. Now, from this same terminal window, I will use the command open SSL space AE-CBC space dash in, which allow me to specify the input file or the plain text message that I would like to encrypt. Now, after entering that, which is obviously our letter to grandma, so then another space and dash out, which is like the file name that I want to save the output. So I want to save this output as message.enc. Now, after hitting enter from my keyboard, it will require me to enter the password, which is here. Look at the statement that said enter AES 256 CBC encryption password. So this is the password that I will use to encrypt this particular plain text file. So after entering the password, it will ask me to verify the password again. So we're supposed to be the same password that I initially entered. You can just use whatever you use. I'm using CyberOps as the password. After the process has finished, I'll use the cat command to open up the output message or the output of that process, which is message.enc. This is supposed to be the encrypted file, if you remember from our last command. After opening this is the output. Now the output of this message.enc is completely broken. So the reason being that OpenSSL has generated a binary file, so which is what we are seeing now. Now to make the file readable, I'll run the OpenSSL command again, but this time around I'll add the dash A option. So the dash A option tells OpenSSL to encode the encrypted message using a different encoding method of base 64 before actually saving it in a file. But the base 64 is a binary to text encoding schemes used to represent binary data in an ASCII string format. Now I'll enter the command again, OpenSSL AES 256 CBC-A-N to specify the input or our plain text, then dash out to specify the file name that we want to save the result to. So it will still request or require the encryption password, and I'll use CyberOps, and we need to verify the password again or enter CyberOps again. Now, after doing that, I will use the cat command to open the content of this output, which is the message.enc. So now cat message.enc. Now, as you can see, the output is now more text-like, unlike the previous one, which was completely symbol. So now I have successfully encrypt that plain text message, which is the letter to grandma, to this. Now, something to note is the reason behind changing it from that symbol we saw to base 64 encoded is because one can just copy the encrypted message, which is what we are seeing now, the content of the message.enc. One can successfully copy it and paste it in order to send it as an email to the recipient. Now, after the successful encryption, I need to show you how to decrypt this message. So now this is kind of similar to the encryption process with minor changes. So now I'll go to my right here from my terminal. I'll use the command OpenSSL AES 256 CBC -A space -D and then specify the message or the file that I want to decrypt. So the file that I want to decrypt this time around is called the message.enc, and then this out allows me to specify the file name that I want the output to be saved to, which in this case it is decrypted later.txt. So the OpenSSL will ask for the password, which is supposed to be the same password that I used during the encryption. So I'll enter the same password here, which was CyberOps. Now, after doing that, let me cut this encrypted message.txt and see the content. Doing this using cat decrypted later.txt. So as you can see here, the letter has been successfully been decrypted. So I have successfully decrypted the message which was earlier encrypted. So that is basically how to encrypt and decrypt a message using OpenSSL. Now, another thing to note is that the decryption command also includes the -A option. The reason being that the message, which is the encrypted message was base 64 encoded. So after the encryption process took place, the message.enc must be base 64 decoded before OpenSSL can decrypt it. So that is something to note. And that's basically it. I hope you learned something from this, and I will see you in the next one.